No handlers, no palace PR team, no carefully pre-approved questions. Just Howard Stern, a microphone, and a prince who walked into the wrong studio thinking his title would protect him. For over 4 decades, Howard Stern has been the undisputed king of brutally honest interviews. A man who asks what no one else dares, who pushes where no one else will. But on a Thursday morning that would go down in broadcast history, Howard faced something he hadn't encountered in years. A guest so convinced of his own superiority that he couldn't see the trap closing around him. Prince Harry arrived expecting to control the conversation. He left 25 minutes later, verbally dismantled, publicly humiliated, and banned from ever returning. The cameras caught everything, every condescending smirk, every arrogant deflection, and every devastating response that proved Howard Stern doesn't bow to anyone, especially not to men who think crowns make them untouchable. Before we dive into this explosive story, make sure you hit subscribe and smash that like button. Now, let's get into exactly what happened in that studio. The Howard Stern Show studio hummed with its usual electric, unpredictable energy. Dim lighting, walls plastered with posters from decades of outrageous interviews, and the unmistakable smell of coffee, equipment, and trouble waiting to happen. Howard Stern slid into his seat behind the microphone, long hair tucked behind one ear, glasses reflecting the studio lights. He cleared his throat, shot a glance toward his co-host Robin Quivers, and smirked. "This is going to be interesting," he murmured. Robin raised an eyebrow. "You think he'll actually answer anything?" "I think he'll try not to. That's when it gets fun." Then the door opened. Prince Harry stepped inside like he owned the room. Harry offered a stiff nod as he settled into the guest chair across from Howard, leaning back with the posture of someone who expected the furniture to be grateful for his presence. "Welcome to the show, Prince Harry," Howard began, his voice carrying that signature blend of warmth and mischief. "I gotta ask, should we bow, salute, or just vibe? What's the protocol for interviewing someone who hates protocol?" Robin laughed softly. It was meant as a joke, an icebreaker. Harry's eyes sharpened instantly. "You don't need to bow. I'm not part of that circus anymore." Howard raised a brow. "Well, you left the circus, sure. But the circus didn't leave you. That's why we're here, right?" Harry crossed his arms. "I'm here because people need to hear the truth, without tabloid twisting." Howard leaned back, amused. "Buddy, you're on the Howard Stern Show. Twisting isn't our brand. Asking blunt questions is." The air tightened slightly. Harry gave a smug half-smile. "That's fine, as long as the questions are intelligent." Robin winced. She sensed the incoming explosion. Howard kept the grin but lowered his voice a notch. "Trust me, the intelligent ones are usually the most uncomfortable." Harry sighed dramatically. "Then let's get on with it." Howard opened with what he thought was a warm-up question. "So, how's life in America? You've been here a while now. California treating you well?" Harry shrugged. "It's tolerable. Better than living in a palace where everyone pretends to care?" Howard blinked. "Tolerable. Most people would kill to live in a Montecito mansion with ocean views." Harry shrugged again, tone dripping with condescension. "When you've grown up surrounded by actual privilege, you stop being impressed by houses, Howard." Robin quietly whispered. "Oh, wow," Howard chuckled. "Okay, your highness of humility." Harry snapped slightly. "Is there a real question in there, or do you just want to poke fun?" Howard leaned forward, not breaking eye contact. "All right, real question. You left the royal family to escape the spotlight, and then went on Oprah, Netflix, a book tour, podcast deals, and now my show. Isn't that a little contradictory?" Harry's jaw tightened visibly. "It's not contradiction, it's control. I share my story, not the press." Howard tapped his pen against the desk. "Sure, but you still want the spotlight. You're here, that says something." Harry's glare sharpened. "It says I want the truth heard, not distorted. Speaking of truth, are you happy? Genuinely happy?" Harry's expression shifted to something almost defensive. Of course I'm happy. Why wouldn't I be? I don't know. You seem pretty tense for someone who's happy. I'm not tense. I'm focused. Howard nodded slowly. Focused on what? On correcting false narratives, on building something meaningful, on proving that I made the right choice. Proving to who? Harry paused. The question seemed to catch him off guard. To the people who doubted me. Howard smiled gently. See, that's interesting. Happy people usually don't spend their energy proving things to doubters. They just live their lives. Harry's face reddened slightly. I am living my life. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're still fighting battles that ended years ago. The battles haven't ended. They've just changed form. Maybe. Or maybe you're the one who won't let them end. Robin murmured. Oh, this is getting deep. Harry shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. Can we talk about something else? Sure. Let's talk about Megan. The shift in Harry's demeanor was immediate. A wall going up so fast you could almost hear it slam. What about her? Howard shrugged casually. Everything. How's she doing? How's the marriage? People are curious. Harry's voice dropped into a cold, defensive tone. She's fine. She's wonderful. We're both thriving. That word keeps coming up with you guys. Because it's true. Howard studied him. And she's happy? Really happy? Harry snapped. Why does everyone keep asking that? They expect a different answer. Yes, she's happy. I'm happy. We're happy. Is that so hard to believe? Howard held up his hands. Hey, I'm just asking. You came on the show. Questions are kind of the deal. Questions are fine. Insinuations aren't. What did I insinuate? That we're not what we say we are. Howard tilted his head. I asked if you were happy. You got defensive. That's not an insinuation. That's an observation. Harry's eyes narrowed. You're twisting things. I'm asking things. There's a difference. But I've noticed that distinction seems hard for you, Robin whispered. Oh boy, this is only part one. Howard pressed forward. All right, let's talk family. Your actual family. How are things with William? Harry rolled his eyes dramatically. Of course, that's all anyone wants to talk about. Well, yeah, you wrote an entire book about it. I wrote a book about my life. He happens to be part of it. A pretty significant part. You talked about him throwing things at you, physical altercations, deep resentments. Any progress on fixing that relationship? Harry's smirk returned, cold and condescending. Some relationships can't be fixed. Some people don't want to change. And you're sure it's all on him? Harry stiffened. Excuse me? I'm asking if you've considered that maybe, just maybe, some of the problems involve you too. I've done nothing but try to repair things. They're the ones who refuse. Have you? Because from the outside, it looks like you've spent 3 years publicly attacking them while claiming you want reconciliation. I've told my truth. Your truth involved sharing private family conversations, childhood traumas, and accusations that your family is racist. That's not a peace offering, Harry. That's a declaration of war. Harry's face flushed. They needed to be held accountable. And you're the one who gets to hold them accountable? You, who benefited from that system for 30 plus years? You're the moral authority? Harry leaned forward aggressively. I'm the one who had the courage to leave. Howard nodded slowly. Or the one who had somewhere better to go. Most people don't leave bad situations because they can't afford to. You left because you had a rich wife and Netflix money waiting for you. That's not courage. That's options. The studio fell silent. Harry stared at Howard, his mouth opening and closing. Robin whispered, "Oh my God." Harry finally spoke, his voice shaking with controlled fury. You don't know anything about my choices. I know what you've told us, and what you've told us is that you escaped an oppressive institution by moving into a $16 million mansion. Forgive me if the sympathy doesn't flow freely. Harry stood up slightly, then sat back down, a false start that betrayed his agitation. This is exactly what happens. I try to share my perspective, and people like you twist it into something negative. Howard shook his head. I haven't twisted anything. I've repeated your own words back to you and asked follow-up questions. If that feels like twisting, maybe the problem is the original shape. What's that supposed to mean? It means your narrative has holes, Harry, big ones. You can't simultaneously claim you want privacy while doing constant media appearances. You can't claim you want reconciliation while publicly attacking your family every 6 months. You can't claim you're thriving while looking this angry all the time. I'm not angry. You've been angry since you walked in. I made a joke about bowing and you bit my head off. You're the angriest, thriving person I've ever met. Harry's hands clenched. Maybe I'm angry because people like you refuse to understand. Or maybe you're angry because people like me see through the act. Robin inhaled sharply. This is getting scary. Harry ran a hand through his hair, visibly agitated. You know what? This is exactly what I expected. Another American host pretending they understand my life better than I do. Howard didn't raise his voice. His calm was more threatening than shouting could ever be. I don't pretend to understand your life. I'm trying to understand you. But you're making it impossible because every question becomes an attack in your mind. Harry's lips curled in a cold, dismissive smile. Maybe I'm not here to be understood. Howard tapped his pen. Then why are you here? Harry looked away, jaw clenched. I'm here because my team thought it would be good for the book. So you're here for promotion? I'm here to share my story, which you're also selling, for money, while claiming you don't care about money. I never said I don't care about money. You've implied that you left royalty because it was morally compromised, but you've replaced royal money with corporate money, Netflix money, Spotify money, book deal money. How is that more ethical? Harry sputtered. It's different because I'm in control. You're in control of what, exactly? You have deals with corporations that expect content. You have publishers that expect books. You have media appearances that expect headlines. You've traded one set of obligations for another. The only difference is you chose these ones. Exactly. I chose them. So did King Charles choose his. So did William. They chose to stay. You chose to leave. Neither choice is morally superior. They're just different. Harry's voice rose dangerously. My choice was about survival. Your choice was about preference. You preferred California over London. You preferred Netflix over palace duties. You preferred freedom from scrutiny while maintaining the benefits of celebrity. That's fine. But don't dress it up as some heroic escape. Harry slammed his palm on the arm of his chair. You have no idea what I sacrificed. Howard didn't flinch. You sacrificed a life most people would kill for to live another life most people would kill for. Forgive me if I don't see the tragedy. I sacrificed my family. You chose to leave your family. Those are different verbs. They forced me out. You said yourself you made the choice. Which is it? Did you choose or were you forced? Because you keep switching depending on what makes you look better. Harry stared at Howard, breathing heavily. You're deliberately misunderstanding me. I'm deliberately listening to you, and what I hear is someone who can't keep his story straight because the truth is messier than the narrative he's selling. Robin murmured. This is brutal. Harry stood up suddenly. I don't have to sit here and be psychoanalyzed. Howard stood too, not aggressively, but with the firm authority of someone reclaiming his space. You're right. You don't. You can leave any time. Maybe I will. Maybe you should, because honestly, Harry, I'm not sure what you came here to accomplish. You won't answer questions about Meghan. You won't discuss your family without getting defensive. You won't engage with any perspective that doesn't match your own. What exactly did you think was going to happen? Harry's voice turned icy. I thought I'd get a fair interview. This is fair. Fair doesn't mean agreeable. Fair means I ask real questions and you give real answers. You've given me deflection, hostility, and rehearsed talking points. That's not a conversation. That's a performance? Harry laughed bitterly. That's rich coming from a shock jock who's made a career out of being outrageous. I've made a career out of being honest. There's a difference. And I've been honest with you tonight, more honest than most people in your life probably are. The question is whether you can handle it. I can handle anything. Except questions. Except pushback. Except anyone who doesn't tell you what you want to hear. Harry ripped off his microphone, the gesture sharp and angry. This was a mistake. Coming here was a mistake, Howard nodded. Maybe, but not for the reasons you think. Harry paused. What's that supposed to mean? It means you came here thinking you'd control the conversation. You came here thinking your title and your trauma would shield you from scrutiny. And when they didn't, you fell apart. That's not my fault, Harry. That's yours. I didn't fall apart. You're standing up, ripping off equipment, and preparing to storm out because I asked you questions. What would you call that? Harry's face contorted with barely suppressed rage. I call it refusing to be disrespected. And I call it fragility. The inability to handle anything that doesn't go exactly your way. You don't know me. I know what you've shown me. And what you've shown me is someone who demands empathy while offering none. Someone who wants understanding while refusing to understand. Someone who talks about honesty while getting angry whenever someone is actually honest with him. Harry pointed at Howard, his hand shaking. You're going to regret this. Howard smiled thinly. Threats now? That's very royal of you. It's not a threat. It's a promise. People will see how I was treated here. They'll see exactly what happened. A journalist asking questions. A prince refusing to answer them. A confrontation that the guest created and then fled from. I'm not fleeing. You're literally walking toward the door. Harry stopped, caught in the observation. For a moment, something flickered behind his eyes. Embarrassment, maybe. Or the awareness that he'd lost control of the situation entirely. But then the walls went back up. This show is beneath me anyway, Harry said coldly. You're all beneath me. The studio went silent. Robin covered her mouth. Howard nodded slowly. There it is, finally. The truth you've been hiding all interview. Harry blinked. What? You think you're better than everyone? Better than me? Better than the audience? Better than the people who bought your book and watched your documentary and gave you platform after platform to tell your story? You think your title makes you special even though you claim you don't want it anymore? Harry's voice rose. I never said. You just said we're beneath you. Those are your words. Out loud. On microphone. And you said them because you finally got frustrated enough to drop the act. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. And here's the thing, Harry. You're not above anyone in this room. You're not above the crew who set up these lights. You're not above Robin, who's listened to you condescend to us for 20 minutes. You're not above the audience who took time out of their day to watch this interview. Howard stepped closer, voice dropping to something quiet and devastating. You're not above any of them, and pretending you are is why you've lost everyone who ever mattered to you. Your family, your country, your credibility. You've traded all of it for the right to feel superior. And now you're standing in my studio, insulting everyone around you and wondering why people don't love you anymore. Harry stood frozen. The arrogance had cracked. Underneath it was something raw, pain, confusion, the look of a man who'd just heard something he couldn't unhear, but he couldn't admit it. Not here, not now. You're wrong about me, Harry whispered. Maybe, but I don't think so, and neither does anyone watching. Harry turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, he paused. You'll regret this, he said, but his voice had lost its edge. It sounded almost hollow. I doubt it, Howard replied, but I think you might. Goodbye, Harry. The door slammed behind him. The studio sat in stunned silence for a long moment. Then Howard sighed, back into his chair. Well, that happened. Robin shook her head slowly. I've never seen anything like that. Howard rubbed his temples. I didn't want it to go that way. I really didn't. But he came in swinging, and when you swing at me in my own house, I swing back. He called us beneath him. He did. And that's the part that'll stick. Not the questions, not the deflections. That moment when he finally said what he actually thinks. Robin looked at Howard. Do you feel bad? Howard considered the question seriously. I feel sad. Not for me, for him. He's clearly lost, clearly angry, clearly convinced that the whole world is against him. And when you believe that, you make it true. You push everyone away and then blame them for leaving. He turned to face the camera. Folks, I want to apologize. That was supposed to be a conversation about his book, his life, his perspective. What it became was something else entirely. He's welcome to tell his side of things anywhere he wants, but he's not welcome back here, not after that. The interview lasted 23 minutes. Its impact would last considerably longer. And somewhere in California, a prince was learning what millions had already discovered. That Howard Stern doesn't bow to anyone, and that titles mean nothing when you can't back them up with basic human decency. Some kingdoms are inherited, others are built. Only one of those men was sitting on a throne he'd earned. What do you think? Was Howard too harsh? Or did Harry deserve every response? Who would you want to see Howard interview next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video to help it reach more people. Subscribe to our channel for more explosive celebrity moments. We've got more incredible stories coming your way. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's next.